Well, I am so excited to be here with the legend, Rebecca Lynn Howard.
That's always so weird when people call me a legend. It makes
You
me
are
feel
a legend.
old.
Well, you're not old. I feel like you're just getting started in your prime time.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it?
I feel that way too.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a good season in my life.
Have you been musical forever? Because I remember I was telling Maddie, who does all my content for me, when it must have been 2002 was when Forgive came out, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I was in high school. Forgive came out, and I used to like stare at CMT. Like I would like stay up
Same.
and just like wait for CMT to come on.
I know.
And just wait to see the music
videos.
videos. Because of me, we didn't have YouTube. We didn't have nothing. You couldn't get anything on demand.
I know.
And I watched your music video. I feel like you were in an outside. It was like an outside patio type thing. Was there a pool
It was a
there?
house.
Was there it was like an outside. You're kind of walking around an outdoor area singing Forgive.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, who is that? And you became instantly one of my favorite singers. And that was one of my favorite songs of all time. So now that I'm sitting here with you, talking to you, and I mean, of course, I've known you.
Oh,
in
yeah.
Nashville,
We've known each other for a long time.
but it's just so cool to see, like, you know, when you aren't in the industry and you don't have access to people who are creating all this amazing art. I remember when I like first met you, it's like overwhelming to meet people that you grew up just seeing from a distance and thinking that they were living this alternate life.
Yeah.
And then
then you realize that they're just normal people.
yeah, just doing it, chasing
Yeah.
a dream and like riding this wave.
That's it.
And you have been chasing this dream.
For a long time.
How long? How long have you had this dream?
Well, I've had this dream from a tender age. Well, the first time I ever realized that I wanted to be a country music singer was I was watching videos, and I think it was TNN. I think they had some stuff on the Nashville network. Do you remember that? That's probably a little bit before your time, even.
And was that like Great American Country?
No, it was back when Lorianne, remember Charlie and
Kirk and Chase. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
Like they had a show on there.
Oh, yeah.
It was the Nashville Network, TNN. That's what it was called.
The Nashville Network.
And they'd play videos, and they had different, talk shows and stuff that's what you did to see your favorite artist. Because like you said, we didn't have the internet back then. You couldn't just look on their Facebook page or their Instagram or their TikTok and go, oh, this is what my favorite artist is doing right now.
You definitely couldn't stream anything. I mean,
no.
You had to go buy the album.
Yeah. And
wait on the radio,
occasionally
listen to the
you
radio.
would see like this is an article, like they're in this magazine.
Yes.
So then you would join their fan club or whatever.
It doesn't feel like that long ago, but man, things have changed.
They
right?
really have.
Fast.
I know. There was a lot of I think it's good and bad. Everything has pros and cons to it, but back then I felt like there was a little bit more mystery.
Yes.
Yes. And that's kind of gone now.
Absolutely. I think I don't know who I was talking to this with about, but it's like, I don't actually know if can there be any more like superstars anymore? Because now there are so many like
TikTok stars and
there's so many famous people, but like you don't even know about pockets of people because it's like it's just select to what you're interested in. So it's like, is there really famous stars anymore?
It's a good question.
Will there be any more born, or is everyone a star?
I mean, I guess we'll see. It feels like we might be birthing some big stars in the country music realm right now, like with Lainey.
Yeah.
But it happens so rarely now. It's not like it was when we were growing up. Like you had a handful, and it changed out every 15 years.
Right.
You had a new wave.
They had a regime.
Bunch of, yeah. So I don't know. I guess we'll just see how it all plays out. Trust me, I do not pretend to have the answers. I'm kind of just riding the wave with everybody else. But I am glad that we've got, the technology and the world at our fingertips. It really does help in more independent artists who, I was signed to so many major
like 7
label
major
deals.
label deals, right?
Yeah, I mean it's been crazy.
Rebecca Lynn. I mean,
I tried them all.
have you had any favorites? Were there some that were better than others?
Oh, well, I guess they all had their ups and downs.
This is like dating. This is like your roster of
I
men.
know. It's like rapid fire questions.
Uh-huh.
You know, I was so grateful. When I graduated high school, I moved to town with a record deal.
No way.
They signed me right out of high school. I signed a Universal Music Group right out of high school.
How did you even get discovered that young?
Well, my mom started bringing me to Nashville when I was 10 years old.
I mean, because that voice has just been present forever. You've always known you had that voice.
I've just always wanted to sing, and it never really was about seeking fame or anything like that for me. That was never the driving force. I just legit wanted to sing. And even the writing thing came later, like I messed around with songwriting since I was 7 years old, playing piano. And my mom watched Days of Our Lives. And so, I'm a very observant person and I was a very observant child. And love is easy to write about. I feel like we're all kind of born with that innately, But when I moved to Nashville, it was never really about the songwriting, just the songwriting. I didn't think I was going to write songs for other people. And that was the part of my career that took off first.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, even before the record deal?
Yeah. Well, I had the record deal, released some singles. Nothing really happened early on. Like I had a few singles out before Forgive came out.
Okay.
But I was writing songs and getting cuts by, John Michael Montgomery and Trisha Yearwood. And
so you had early Trisha Yearwood, because you have another Trisha Yearwood cut. So
yeah.
You've had one prior too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a song called I Don't Paint Myself into Corners. And that was on her Inside Out album.
Oh.
Yep. And the story behind that song's pretty interesting, or just the way it was cut. She and I and Leanne Womack and Gary Allen were all label mates. We were all signed to MCA. And we were in a big warehouse somewhere in Bowling Green, Kentucky. The label had us up there playing a show for the Anderson Group, who was Walmart.
Okay.
And that's back in the day when in the electronics department, you could go in and buy all of your favorite CDs,
Yes.
And we were vying for that really great kiosk slot, like right when you walk in the section
center
of the
stage, right when you walk in.
Yeah. And so we were playing for the Anderson Group. And of course, that was back when you could save your best for last too. Nowadays, people don't have an attention span of a 2-year-old, so you kind of have to get the best out in about 6 seconds.
Like your song.
Or you lose
Yeah.
them. But anyway, I sang I Don't Paint Myself into Corners. That was my last song of the day. And Trisha, she was sitting to my right, and she looks at me after the applause died down, and she was like, that song is amazing. Do you mind if I cut that? Right there on stage.
Stop it.
And I'm like 18 years old.
And she's like the reason you started singing, right?
Oh, Trisha, I mean, I grew up singing She's in Love with a Boy into a hairbrush in front of the mirror, She definitely was one of the voices that influenced the way that I sing, for sure. And I thought I'd fall off of the stool when she said that. I was just so taken aback, and everybody just like erupted in applause. And she actually cut the song and released it the following year. She debuted it on the award shows and on the Opry that year. I was watching the first time she sang it on, I believe it was the ACM Awards, and I can just see it now. She had this beautiful velvet dress on, and I thought to myself, can you have a heart attack at 18? Because I think I might be having one.
Oh my gosh.
But it was just to hear her voice on something that I had written was just a dream come true.
And
it
just
really
like
was.
they say, don't meet your idols, but also like meet your idols.
Meet your idols.
You've met a lot of your idols.
She is the most down-to-earth person and so much fun to be around. And now, we're friends and we write together, and I actually have a song on her brand new album that's out, and my song Girls Night In that I co-wrote with her and Rachel Thibodeau.
Who's your bestie of all besties.
Of all besties.
So this is another dream come true. It's Trisha Yearwood and your best friend Rachel Thibodeau. Y'all wrote it together?
Yes.
And it's like the ultimate girl anthem.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, I love this song so much. And when I sing it out at writers' nights and stuff, women come up to me left and right and they're like, this is going to be our girl group new song that we play every time we get together. And I just think it's time for women to start celebrating each other a little bit more. The older I get, it's like my female tribe they're everything, because when you're going through something, you turn to your friends and you go, this is what I'm dealing with right now. Can you help me? And we're there for one another, and we listen and we offer really good advice. And we just care, we're there for one another. And I think women are ready for a little bit more of that, I'm feeling it, there's just a feminine energy that's kind of rising up and going, hey, we need to champion each other. This isn't a competition.
No.
We got to rally around one another and lift each other up. And so that's kind of, especially when Rachel and I write together, it's sort of our mission to get that message across, especially with like these younger girls that are coming to town. And I didn't really have a lot of mentors early on. And then I became friends with people like Patty Loveless, who mentored me.
What is she like as a mentor?
She's amazing.
Like, what is she like as just a friend?
She is so down to earth, Patty and I grew up about 30 miles from one another.
But didn't know each other?
No. I mean, she was like, there's quite an age difference there, but she grew up in Elkhorn City, Kentucky, which is in, the Appalachian Mountains, and I'm from about 30 miles west of there in a little town called Salyersville. And it's interesting because that part of Kentucky, there are so many country music artists that have come out of there.
Really?
Keith Whitley.
Stop.
The Judds.
Like deep country
Ricky
artists.
Skaggs. Loretta Lynn,
No.
Chris Stapleton, Patty Loveless, Dwight Yoakam.
And these people are like rich in their like country culture too.
100%. And it's all in that Appalachia
What do you think
area.
It is?
I think a lot of it is lack of something else to do because there was really nothing to do. And everybody just kind of grew up in a musical family. We all picked guitars and banjos and mandolins. And I had a cousin that played piano in our church. And everybody sang and everybody played. And
It's just what you did. It wasn't
it's just
like
what
rare.
you did. And we would get together for family cookouts. And
That was
everybody would,
entertainment.
they would bring their guitars and we'd all sit around on the porch and put lawn chairs out in the yard, and everybody would just sit and pick and play. And
So is everybody pretty decent? Like
Oh,
everybody
yeah.
can hold a tune and can play an
Oh.
instrument?
yes,
Because you can play multiple instruments, right?
I do. I play piano and I play guitar. I play bass now, which I didn't until
Added that one to the list.
I just added that one to the list, and that's a whole nother story. But
I want to hear it.
you can totally do anything. It doesn't matter how old you are. There's no excuses. I was 32, I think, when I picked up the bass. Maybe
Why'd you
a little
pick it
older.
up?
Well, I was going to this little church up in White House, Tennessee, and the bass player quit. My brother looks over and he was like, well, Becky could play the bass. And I was like, I don't play bass. He goes, well, you can play guitar, and bass only has 4 strings. So, I mean, how hard could that be? So I was like, okay, give me a couple of weeks.
A couple of weeks?
And, well, we're like hymns and that kind of stuff, it wasn't super difficult. And of course, there are some similarities between guitar and bass, and you can kind of like find your way around it, right? So I'd been playing guitar for 20 something years at that point. Like, okay. I knew my way around the neck of a guitar enough to figure some simple stuff out on my own. And so I started playing just once a week, a few songs on Sunday. And then my husband and I, along with Marty Fredrickson and a few other friends of ours, we started a band called the Loving Mary Band. And we were literally sitting around, and this is how everybody got assigned their instruments. So Marty was like, well, I can sing and play rhythm guitar, and this guy, he's really great at lead, so we'll let him play electric.
And Marty's also, let's not fail to mention, a great singer, songwriter, producer. Did he produce Steven Tyler?
Oh yeah, he wrote Jaded.
Okay. And
produced that record, and then several other songs with them. So they've known each other for decades.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I play bass at church. I could probably, do that, and I could sing and play at the same time, which I didn't know that apparently that's difficult to do, but my husband says it is, so I believe him.
To play bass and sing?
To play bass and sing. Because sometimes, like, the bass riffs will be a different rhythm than what you're trying to sing. And so it's like one of those
and
things.
Rubbing your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which I can't do that, but I can play and sing at the same time. So it was by default. And they were like, all right, you're the bass player.
So that you just started, and then you became the bass player in this new band, the Loving Mary Band.
Yeah. And we weren't playing with Steven, at that
Tyler,
time.
No,
Steven. No big deal.
No biggie. But there's a lot of y'all in that band.
Yeah, so there's 6 members. There's 3 girls and 3 guys.
Y'all just started it for fun?
We just started it for fun.
Because y'all are all so talented. You're like, we need to be in a band.
And we were writing songs. It was a different time in country music. Like the bro country movement was kind of like hot and heavy, and that was really out of my wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. I'm a 90s country girl. I can't help myself. I just, that era of country music will always have my heart.
I feel you. Same. Same.
So good. So we were writing these songs, and we were like, as we're writing them, singing harmonies and sounding like a band. And we were like, we should just be a band. I mean, how many times do people say that joking around? But we actually did it. And then a few weeks later, Marty calls everybody, and he's like, well, I just got off the phone with Steven
Tyler of
Aerosmith.
Just no biggie. Because that's right, when he was coming to Nashville a lot.
Yes. He fell in love with the songwriting community at the Bluebird.
Okay.
He went to a Bluebird show and absolutely fell in love.
Okay.
And he's loved country music for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, he called and he was like, we're doing some things separate from Aerosmith. Steven wants to do some stuff kind of on his own and maybe make a country record, and he needs a band. And I told him, just use our band. And he was like, okay.
What? Wait, tell me you did not freak out. I mean, I know you've been hanging out with
I was freaking out.
You've had Forgive, which was a hit on the radio. You've written songs for Trisha. Your mentor is Patty Loveless. But when Steven Tyler calls you and asks you to be his band, I mean, that's kind of like a peak moment.
I was freaking out for a lot of reasons.
Tell me the reasons.
The biggest reason was I had never played anything super difficult on a bass guitar.
Let's not forget you just learned how to play bass.
Yeah, everything that we were playing was like country stuff. Rocking back from the 1 and the 5 and just kind of like, just keeping rhythm and jamming out, right? So Marty's like, we got to learn these songs. And it was Jaded, Sweet Emotion, all of these super complex bass riffs. And I'm not a riff player.
Are you frustrated that you are the bass player in the band when you're so good at like guitar?
Well, I was like, what have I done? What did I agree to?
This is a mistake.
What have I gotten myself into? But I've just always been the type that I just believe that I can do anything.
Well, you can.
And maybe it's because I believe I can.
Yeah.
I just was not going to let that difficult task ahead of me get the best of me.
Could you have traded positions to become the guitar player?
I didn't want to.
You wanted this task. Okay, you like it.
I didn't want to. I love a challenge.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
Like a musical challenge?
I work really good under pressure.
Okay.
I feel like I rise to my best when I'm under pressure.
Okay. Well,
So,
you got it.
I definitely got it. And I became the queen of like YouTube tutorials and watching all of like the Aerosmith live footage to study Tom's, hands and see where he was playing on the bass guitar. Because literally I'm starting from scratch pretty much.
And you're in Steven Tyler's band. This is amazing.
Yep.
I mean, amazing.
So I learned those 5 songs really, really well. I mean, I would shed those things from the time I got up in the morning till the time my head hit the pillow. I had sliced my fingers open. I was super gluing my skin back together. It was crazy. But our first performance was for Congress. Yeah.
Like where, who, what?
We were going to petition Congress to try to help songwriters,
Oh, was it for like
for
songwriter
royalties.
royalty?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Yep. So we did a show for a select group of people.
You just start off. You don't start small.
I mean, we were just out of just bam.
Nothing small for you, Rebecca Lynn.
It really is.
I mean, you're going bigger. You're going home.
Or I'm going back to Lick Creek.
Love it. So Congress, okay, how did that go? Were you nervous?
It went great. It went absolutely. Of course I was nervous. I just could have passed out. I mean, I was so nervous, but I made it through the first performance. And then after that, it was like, okay, I can do this. I've got this. I can do this.
What is it like being on stage with Steven Tyler?
Amazing.
Is he electric? Is he wild?
Is all of the things that
what
you
is
would
it?
imagine.
Tell me what it's like as best you can.
The first time that we were doing the thing in Washington, D.C., and the first time I'd ever met him, right? We just rehearsed separate from Steven. We rehearsed in Nashville as a band, right? Getting all of the songs ready. And he just put so much trust in us. But that's how he is. I mean, he just has faith and he believes in you, And so it makes you want to work harder for him.
He just knows you're going to do it.
Because he just knows. He expects it, right? And the first time I ever met him was the night before the performance, and it was at a restaurant. Hadn't met him yet.
You just learned bass.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't met him. You're going to play for Congress to petition for songwriters' royalties, and this is your first show and meeting him all at once?
Yes.
Holy
all
cow.
of it. I know. And you're trying to be cool as a cucumber.
Steven Tyler.
Right? And we were eating at this restaurant and waiting on Steven to get there. And when he walks in, he's got this fur situation on with these sunglasses and his wild, gnarly hair and the feathers and all the things. And he just sucks up all of the energy in the room, like in a good way.
Like how?
Because his presence is so big. It's so big and electric that he is all you notice.
Like when he comes in, what is he like? Is he loud? Is he chill?
He doesn't have to be.
He just walks in.
He just walks in.
He just breathes.
Yeah.
He just enters the room.
He just is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what's so endearing about Steven is he's so kind and nice to the fans. Like he never makes people feel like they're intruding or whatever,
He always loves to see fans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Always.
Oh, yeah.
Like even if he's eating dinner?
Oh, when we were in Europe, like our second tour with him, we went on a world tour. This was back in 2018, I believe.
Was that epic?
Unreal.
You saw the whole world tour
Unreal.
with Steven Tyler?
Unreal.
What is your life?
I know. I don't know.
I saw you like in a back of in a boat in like Venice with a Steven or something.
Yeah.
Like you're just like traveling around with your husband who's also in the band and Steven Tyler and your best friends.
Once in a
music.
lifetime opportunity.
Are you like living your best life?
Yes.
Everyone's getting along?
Everyone's getting along. Everyone's having a great time.
So it's
Steven
good.
was super happy. We were all happy. The band was so tight. You know, we had rehearsed and practiced, and everybody just wanted to bring a level of excellence to the stage. And it was such a circus. It was just great. It was great.
I mean, that's really what dreams are made of.
It really is.
I mean, and that's something you could never have dreamed up.
Oh, not in a million years. Are you kidding me? I did not listen to rock and roll when I was growing up because that was the devil's music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I listened to country music and gospel and bluegrass, and that's what I grew up singing. And so, not to mention like trying to learn bass, but I was legit just trying to learn the songs because I didn't grow up listening to these songs.
Yeah.
And I gained such an appreciation for rock and roll music. I did not realize the complexity of it and the difficulty of the arrangements. And I mean, gosh, especially Aerosmith songs, the musicality, because, you know, Steven is a musical genius.
Yeah.
He really is.
Okay.
His dad, I believe, was a professor at Juilliard, and he grew up underneath his, you know, his dad playing the grand piano in their house. And so his ear is just so tuned to excellence and perfection. And so we all felt that need to kind of like rise to the next level. And I started out as a girl who was playing bass. And then by the time we were finishing all the tours, I felt like I was a bass player.
That's amazing.
Who was a girl.
What is it like just hanging out with him? Like when you're, you know, in Zurich, sitting down having coffee, not playing a show. What are y'all doing? What are you talking about? What is the vibe?
He was so generous and just talking about all of the things that he's been through in his life. And he's a very grateful person because I think he knows that, you know, all the things that he did back in the day, he probably shouldn't be here. So it was lucky that he made it through all of that. And I just feel like a lot of gratitude when I'm like coming from him, when I'm around him. He's super endearing. And when he's talking to you, he makes you feel like you're the only person in the world that matters in that moment, you know? So he's just an awesome person.
Did you like being in a band? Because
I
you've always been
did.
a solo artist.
I really did. I liked the dynamic of it. I really enjoyed like singing harmonies, and because I love to harmonize.
And it's like working together though, because there's so many pieces and parts and moving pieces, and it all comes together. It's a huge production.
Yes, it really was.
And a lot of trust, like you said, with him trusting y'all, but there's so much trust that you have to have with each other.
Yes. Yeah.
That everyone's just going to do it.
Yeah. Our band had its own dynamic and a lot of lead singers in our band. You know?
Yeah.
So
because Marty's, he's
there
a lead
was
singer.
me. He's a lead singer. Susie McNeil, you know, from Canada. She is an amazing singer. So
Does Alicia, is he sing? He's a great singer.
He sings, but he didn't sing in the band.
Okay.
And so the three of us lead singers were Steven's backup singers. So we had this 4-part harmony that sounded like the record. You know, and it was great. It was really great and so much fun to recreate that every night. And it was just wild. It was wild. The costumes were fun. Everybody dressed cool, and just the instruments. Like I started playing a Hofner bass, which is like a Beatles bass, like a Paul McCartney bass. Mm-hmm. And Steven's such a huge Beatles fan, you know, so that was really cool to, you know, sort of make that instrument my own too. And I played bass on a lot of my new record.
Look at how
it just all comes together.
Your story is like a beautiful quilt, you know? It's like and that's like the thing with being an artist and a creative like you are and so many people in this town are. It's like you start off, here you are in high school, starting off getting a record deal when you're in high school. And you probably thought it would go one way. And then now flash forward 20 plus years later.
Yeah.
Here you are, and like look at your road going from that to Forgive to like Trisha Yearwood hearing your song on the spot, your idol cutting that song.
Yep.
And now then you joining up with Steven Tyler, forming a band, Loving Mary. Like you can't plan for this stuff.
No.
And people probably ask you all the time, like, how do you make it in Nashville? I mean, what do you even say to a question like that?
Oh my God. Who even knows?
Yeah.
If I feel like I ever make it one day, I'll let you know.
You have totally made it.
But that's the thing. I heard a really interesting interview with Keith Urban, and he was like at the height of his career, and someone asked him like, what does it feel like to finally have made it? And he was like, I don't know. When I make it, I'll let you know. And I think we all sort of feel that way. Like we're just still chasing that dream. We always feel like it's the dangling carrot that's just beyond our reach. And I feel like that's what opens the opportunities, though, because if you feel like you've made it, then you're not really chasing it anymore, and things kind of close off to you. So I've just always tried to, stay humble and be open to opportunity and just say yes, when things feel right, just give it a try. Don't be scared and be persistent. I mean, if this is what you want to do, persistence is key because, they call it a 10-year town. So you got to at least give it that long.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm Not Who You Think I Am, your album that you just released in May, right?
Yes.
Some of these songs are 20 years old.
That's right.
Oh, my gosh.
I know.
How did you decide? Because you had, is this your 5th album? 4th album?
Oh, God.
How many albums? So many albums.
I don't know.
But you hadn't put one out in like 15 or so years.
Yeah. It's been a long time.
And this is the album of your dreams. This is the one.
This is the one that it's kind of my baby whereas before when I was on major labels and making records, and I was writing a lot of songs on those records too, but there was always one or two that I wasn't crazy about, that the label was like, no, you need to do this, and I call it like, cramming songs down my throat.
Yeah.
And I didn't enjoy that part of it. So this time around, I got to handpick all the songs myself. And I really feel like it just kind of weaves itself and tells this story of resilience, or at least that's what it does for me, because even the songs that I wrote so many years ago, they mean something totally different to me now, just because of all the things that have happened in the past few years. Like, life has changed so much.
You've had a lot of heartache.
I've had so much heartache. I lost my daddy 3 years ago.
Was it unexpected?
It was unexpected, and just super traumatic. And
how did that impact your world?
I've never been the same since. I'm still figuring out how to be,
without him. Was he your rock?
He was my person. We talked every day.
You're a total daddy's girl?
Totally.
Oh, it's unbelievable that people can just be gone.
Yeah. I literally felt like a piece of me went with him.
Really?
Yeah. I was able to be with him when he took his last breath. It was very emotionally traumatic. Just, physically, I thought I was going to die. I really did.
How did he pass away, if you don't mind?
Broke my heart. He had several strokes, and, it was just one of those things where they just couldn't save him. And I just couldn't believe it. I'm still like, I still can't believe it. It's been 3 years and 3 months. And some days it still feels like it just happened.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's still so raw.
So raw. So fresh, Still waiting for that time makes it easier. I don't think we're anywhere near that yet. But, God has helped me. I have needed him so much in the past 3 years that I feel like God has been very near to me and very close to me and helped me through it. Otherwise, I honestly don't know how I would have gotten through it. It was such a big loss, and then.
So that means it was such a big love.
Oh, absolutely.
Tell me about your dad. Like, what?
My dad was full of life. Biggest, loudest, best laugh ever, just chuckled, and he would crack himself up. He he would tell these jokes, and he would be laughing so hard his face would be purple.
Oh, I want to laugh that
before
hard.
he would get to the punchline, because he'd be thinking about the punchline.
So he just had a good time.
Yeah, and you'd be laughing at him, not even knowing the punchline, because he was laughing so hard.
It tickled him so much.
He'd get so tickled.
Oh,
yeah.
What a good way to be.
And I don't think my dad really realized how many people loved him to the depths that they did. It was such a massive loss for the community.
Did he live in your hometown?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he was class president. He was valedictorian. Just everybody adored my dad.
He soaked his life up.
He really did.
He lived it.
Hunting, fishing, bird dogs, and
the fact that he had this
things.
Relationship with you, though, clearly his family values, like he knew.
Yeah. His children were everything to him. Oh. Yeah, me and my brother. Yep, everything. And so I feel like I'm getting to a place now where I can talk about my dad and not completely lose it. That's really taken a lot of work, just different modes of therapy. And, I went to a grief counselor not long after that happened, and we were sitting around and talking, and she was asking me these questions, and I felt like I was kind of spacing out and trying to answer them as best I could. And all I could think about when I was in that therapy session was I would get so much more out of a songwriting session right now.
Really?
I did not realize how much co-writing is therapy until I was sitting in a therapy session with someone who didn't know me. And I was like, it's going to take you 20 years to get to the depths of myself that my co-writing family already knows. And like we've already talked about this in songwriting sessions before. So I just feel like this is very redundant. I don't know. And I'm not knocking therapy at all. I'm just saying
songwriting is another world of therapy.
It is my therapy. Music has saved my life.
Why can you get to the depths in songwriting that in a way that you can't in any other form?
Well, I think it has a lot to do with the people that you're writing with.
Mm-hmm.
And being comfortable enough to be vulnerable and totally open,
Mm-hmm.
I always talk about that, like, you have to be an open book. There can't be fear of judgment. So then it does matter who you're writing with.
Yeah, because you're sharing a lot of details.
You're sharing your most inner thoughts.
Yeah.
Your most inner hurts.
You got to know that those people are going to be safe.
That's right. Because they're not going to go blab a bunch of stuff.
Because they really have your innermost information.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when you find those people, and it takes years to find, a handful of those people.
Rachel Thibodeau.
Number
one.
Yeah. But I'm lucky. I mean, I have several people throughout the years that I feel like I've connected with on a songwriting level where I can sit in a room. And, I just am kind of an open book, though. I feel like we go through the things that we go through in life to share it and help other people.
Mm-hmm.
So I almost feel an obligation to share these things, to let people know, because I'm certainly not the only one who's ever lost someone they love or who has ever grieved beyond the depths of what they thought they were capable of. So I know that there are other people out there that are hurting and that are struggling and wondering, am I the only one that has ever hurt this bad? And I'm here to tell you, no, you're not. But you will get through it. You will get through it. There is a strength, I think, that rises up in us when we cannot do anymore, and it's like supernatural.
You said that in one of your songs too. Is it Strong?
Oh, Strong. Yes.
Yeah, it's like what happens when you're running out of weak. Like
That's
when you
it.
can't be weak anymore, you have to be strong. I love that.
You
line.
have no other choice. What are you going to do? What's the other
Die?
choice? And that's not an option.
Yeah.
So
you have to be strong.
So you have to be strong. And I just feel like that's, with my faith, I feel like that's where God really stepped in and just kind of filled me with his strength, not my strength. because I was tapped out.
Really?
I was tapped out.
You couldn't do it anymore? You couldn't hold it together anymore?
I had no more to give. Like,
really?
Physically, emotionally, my heart was just broken beyond repair. And I've made it through it. You know, I'm still making it through it. But every day I get up and every day I make it through another day. And it's not by my own strength. I will tell you that.
So do you feel heartbroken most of your day?
Earlier on, I would have said yes. Probably the first 2 years. Yeah. Most of my day, I was just heartbroken.
Covered in grief.
Totally drowning in it.
Oh, man.
Drowning in it.
Wow.
So it's been a journey, just clawing my way out of it. But, you know, you wake up and you show up every day and you do the work and you pray and you just trust that God has a plan. Honestly, I don't know why that happened, why that had to happen, but I'm just trusting that everything bad that happens in my life, that God is working it out for some kind of good somewhere down the road. And that's what I have to believe, or otherwise it just doesn't make sense to me.
That is unbearable.
Yeah. And my brain is super analytical, so I have to reason it within myself. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, there's got to be a reason for this. And I'm just trusting that one day I'll know what the reason is.
And is this when you put the album together in this season of grief?
It was during the loss of my dad. I was singing some of these vocals like soon after he passed away.
Did his loss make you want to sing? Did it take you to sing, or did it make you, like, where did music fit in when he passed? Because this album was birthed because of that season.
It was birthed right in the middle of all of it.
Is that your outlet?
It was my outlet in a way where I was able to sort of redirect my focus a little bit and just sort of have something else to think about.
Yeah.
You know, and to wrap myself up in for a few hours of the day where I wasn't completely consumed with just missing my dad and, you know, all the things. And something happened the other day. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was something, I think it was with the Trisha song. Oh, I tell you what it was. I got a call from Trisha's manager and she goes, I want you and Rachel to do the Today Show with
and that's happening
Rachel.
soon.
So we're doing that in July.
You and Rachel and Trisha are all going to do it together and sing Girls Night In together?
We are.
What a moment.
And so it's when things like that happens, my first instinct, I need to call my dad, you know, and that's hard. That's hard. His number is still on speed dial on my phone. Like, he's still one of my favorites on the front of my phone.
Those are all the things that, like, you don't think about. It's like having to, like, take away the number. Never
gonna happen.
Oh
yeah, that's never gonna happen. Oh. I know.
Brutal.
I know.
Yeah. It's those kind of little everyday reminders of just like, whoa.
Going through voicemails, emailing them to myself so I don't ever lose them. Like those things, because those are irreplaceable. I can never get that stuff back. So it's just stuff like that you don't really think about. We take our people for granted, you know. So I see my mom all the time. After Daddy passed away, we moved her from that little town in Kentucky, because my brother was here too. My brother is a dentist in Hendersonville. So
awesome. It's
just the two of us, right? And there was no way she could manage all of that stuff by herself, you know. So we were like, Mom, we're moving you to Tennessee. And so she lives here now, and
that's great.
I'm able to just, you know, kind of jump in my car and head up the interstate and see her. I'm like, you know, maybe 20 minutes away. And so I don't take my people for granted. I wish I would have gone home. You know, hindsight's 20/20. I wish I would have gone home so much more and seen my dad. And my dad was kind of like a homebody. He didn't really come down here very much. My mom would come to Nashville all the time to visit. And I've seen her a lot over, the past 20 years since I've lived here. But my dad was more of a, it's fishing season, it's hunting season.
Yeah, it was a big life.
Yeah. It's like he's living his life. And then I would go in for Thanksgiving or Christmas or maybe sometime through the summer. But man, I wish I would have gone home more and just spent more time with him. But the time that we spent together was great, and it was always quality. But I talked to him every day on the phone.
Life's a freaking flash, isn't it?
Life is life and hard right now.
And you've have like issues going on within your body too, right?
Yeah, about a year after my dad passed away, I developed a chronic illness and chronic fatigue, just a lot of health stuff.
You think it had to do with the grief?
I think it would be naive to think otherwise, honestly. I mean, there are so many studies that have come out about chronic illness being connected to emotional trauma.
Yeah, totally.
And so I'm pretty sure that was at least the onset of it. And I'm, working my way through that too.
Are you just tired all the time?
I'm getting a lot better. I'm able to, function pretty much normally now, but it's been 2 years every day, just like researching. And I mean, I've been to so many specialists, and it was like the Western medicine route just was not working for me. Nobody had any answers.
Root cause.
They just had zero answers for me.
Because there's no nothing that like appears to be presenting.
They would do blood work and they would do all the tests, and they're like, "You're totally normal." And I'm like, "I'm not totally normal. I feel like I'm dying."
Have you found any answers out?
Oh yeah. I've been working with functional medicine practitioners and really treating a lot of root causes, and I've discovered so many healing modalities now that I do every day. I work on myself from the time my feet hit the floor in the morning. I'm like working on my lymphatic system, and I sweat in my sauna. So I'm like doing all the things, like trying to detox.
Do you think it's toxins and things that it is?
I think it's just a kind of a myriad of a few different things, but I think what happened was the emotional trauma tanked my immune system. And so what my immune system was able to sort of keep at bay and manage without any symptoms, and I was 100% healthy. I think it was just like my body just went, okay, no more.
Yeah.
I can't take anymore.
What have been some of the best healing things you've done for your body? I love to study this. I've been on a big cleanse lately.
Yeah.
I started drinking baking soda and lemon water every morning.
Yeah.
And
do you add your salt for your minerals?
I just ordered my salt and I've ordered electrolyte powder.
Yeah.
And what is it? The oxygen water, or it's like
ozone.
Yeah. And then apparently like oxygen chambers. I'm like, all these treatments.
There's all kinds of things that we can do
forever. What are your go-tos?
Just my everyday go-to. So my routine is my feet hit the floor. I have a little vibration plate that I stand on.
That's great.
I do that for about 10 minutes. I get my lymphatic drainage pathways opened up. I start doing, they call it the big six. You start here, you go here.
Just like rubbing the big six spots.
Yep. Tapping, patting, rubbing, just trying to get those sort of opened up. And on the mornings when I have enough time, then I'll hop in my sauna. Sweat it out for 20 or 30 minutes.
Awesome.
Hop into a detox bath.
What do you put in there?
So I do a couple of, we're going there, aren't we?
We're
going deep.
Oh, I'm so interested. I am like so deep into this.
I do a couple of 2 cups of Epsom salt.
Okay.
And then whatever essential oil, like a lot of times I'll just do eucalyptus because it's just nice. It kind of opens up your sinuses and gets the air flowing in real good and deep. And then I add a cup of baking soda.
Baking soda is like the
aluminum
healer.
Free.
Aluminum, but that's like a healer, isn't it?
It
Does
really
it just
is.
Pull out the toxins.
It's just such an alkaline sort of
a cup.
Yeah, a cup.
Taking notes here.
Yep, a cup and then 2 cups of Epsom salt.
Okay.
And then I do that in, really hot water,
Mhm.
get in there and just kind of soak it out for about 20 minutes.
Okay.
Take a shower, rinse all the toxins off, and then I'm about my day.
Okay.
Massive amounts of water, lemon, salt.
Yeah, you gotta have the salt.
It's hydration and really flushing things that aren't supposed to be in the body. And ever since I got sick a couple years ago, it's like the hydration has really been one of the big keys.
But you gotta have the salt in there.
Gotta have the minerals and you
Yeah.
gotta have the hydration.
Yeah.
And usually when I start my day on the right foot, I'll have a good day.
Okay.
I'll feel off if I miss one of those elements of my
Mhm.
routine. Like if I haven't drunk enough water, I'll feel it.
Yeah.
I definitely will start. And then, there's this whole element too, Caroline, I'm in perimenopause.
I know, right? It happens. It happens.
happens.
So that's happening as well.
And so a lot of those symptoms can feel
It's confusing.
like the same
There's a lot
chronic.
going on.
Yeah, a lot
It's
going on.
It's a fireworks show over there.
I'm telling you, I love Leanne Morgan. She's like one of my I just love to listen to her talk about all the perimenopause stuff and giving a voice to women that are entering into that phase of life because it was so taboo and nobody ever wanted to talk about it. And,
Yeah.
if you talk about that, you're just admitting that you're old. No, you're not.
You're just a woman.
You're just a woman. And this is a normal process that,
Yes.
like, women are walking around with brain fog.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're walking around with brain fog. I have a little grace on them.
Oh my gosh.
We're walking around
with your body completely changing.
Yeah. Anxiety for no reason at all. Just
Mhm.
like, why do I feel
Women, we
anxious
never don't
all
get a
this-
break from something happening.
Yeah.
It's always something
It's always something.
There is always something happening. There's always a different phase of the hormonal cycle that we're in
Yep.
in our lifetime.
And it's true and it's fact and it's okay
Mm-hmm.
because that's the normal process. That's just what our bodies do.
Mm-hmm.
But our bodies bring forth life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're very complex machines.
Tell me about it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so all this is happening
Yeah.
while you're writing. So why did you title it I'm Not Who You Think I Am?
So I wanted to call it I'm Not Who You Think I Am because I felt like early on in my career, people sort of like got an idea of my artistry and what I sound like and the kind of songs that I write and want to put out into the world. And then in between then and now, I've lived 50 lifetimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why. It's because now I have this whole nother story in between these two periods in life where I toured with one of the biggest rock icons in the whole world.
Yeah.
All around the world.
Yeah.
And I'm not who you think I am.
Mm-hmm. What are some things that we might not have thought about you?
I like rock and roll music. I love that edge and all of those things that rock and roll kind of brings to the table. And I tried to incorporate a little bit of that,
who do you
into
think
this.
people, who were you before?
I feel like I was someone who loved that edgier side of music, but just hadn't experienced it where I could feel authentic in delivering that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I am such a no fakeetry about me kind of person that if I am forced to sing something that I don't believe in, you can smell it from a mile away.
Mhm.
I cannot sell something I don't believe in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I had to go through all those experiences to be able to like put on that outfit too and be able to sell it and feel comfortable in it. And then also just, the loss and the challenge of going through illness and coming out on the other side of it. There's just so many stories wrapped up in the last 15 years. And I'm like, that's all I've ever wanted to do with my music is to help people. Even when Forgive was a big hit, it was like I would have people come up to me in festivals and different shows and stuff. And I got both ends of the spectrum as far as the stories they would tell, but they would say stuff like, thank you so much for that song. It gave me the courage to leave and get out of that situation, which is heavy.
That's very heavy.
I don't take that lightly. And it's a weighty thing, in a writing room. I always try to be careful. Like, what are we saying? What is someone going to be receiving when they listen to this song? But then I would have people come up to me and say, thank you so much for Forgive. It gave me, new perspective, and we were able to sit down and work things out. So
the power of a song and music.
It's such a healer, and a motivator, I think, to, just kind of like make those decisions, help us through the things that we're going through. So I do not take that obligation lightly. I really don't. I know the power of music, and I'm always trying to be really conscious of what I'm saying, because it's important. It changes people's lives.
Well, I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited that this album is out, that it's literally been like 15 years in the making, and it's so special, and it's so you, and everything about it feels so real, and it's on your terms. Your voice is one of the best voices ever.
Thank you.
Lynn Howard. It's amazing.
Thank you,
And
honey.
I mean, it's just so cool to see your journey, because I feel like you are just such an artist, and it's like seeing someone like you and being able to look at the past 20 years of your career and see where it started, where it led you to, all the experiences, and where you are now. And it's ultimately, like you said, it's not about like the accolades or the fame.
No,
it is the journey that it took you on, that it's taking you on, that you can never plan for, and it's given you this richness and this fullness that you then write about and share, and it's like the cycle repeats, and that is artistry.
That is.
And it's so beautiful to see it play out, and it's so cool to see your story and to see all the lives you've lived, and now to have this album. I'm not who you think I am, just like kind of like letting people know, okay, here I am now.
Yeah, here it is. And what's so interesting about this album is I feel like it's super deep and it's super fun. And I feel like that's who I am as a person. I'm not much in between. I mean, I can be just silly and funny and telling all the jokes, or I can go there. And there's not, because, the older I get, your perspective, your priorities, everything shifts, I think the things that we go through, we gain a lot of wisdom.
Absolutely.
And I feel like I'm just now stepping into that realm of being able to make better decisions, more thought out decisions. I heard someone put it this way the other day. Knowledge and information is input, right? It's what we take in, but wisdom is what we do with it. So I'm really trying to walk in more wise decisions in these later years in my life. And I'm just so thankful to be at this stage in my life. I'd love to have my daddy back. Other than that, I don't know that I would change anything.
There's nothing, when you look on it, you're like, this played out beautifully for you.
It's even the bad things. It's made me who I am, and it's brought me to a place of appreciation that you don't get to when everything's hunky-dory. When everything's just going your way, I don't feel like we appreciate those things until we come out of the muddy grubs, out of the pit, and then we're like, oh, thank you.
And the pit will take you down.
Yes, it can if you let it.
But then you get to the other side, like you said, and you have this wisdom.
There you go. And such gratitude.
That's how you get the wisdom. But it's how you get it.
But that's how you get it.
That's how you get it. There's really no other way.
There really isn't.
There's no shortcut.
Yeah.
It's just the long haul.
Yeah.
And just stay in the course.
There is no such thing as learning from other people's mistakes.
No. You can like observe and
you try.
Yeah.
You try to teach like our youth and like my niece and my nephew and my extended nieces and like Rachel's daughter, she's like I'm her second mom, So I really try to like tell them, do this and don't do this and like be smart about your decisions. But at the end of the day, you cannot learn from other people's mistakes. You have to try to instill as much information and as much knowledge into this new generation coming up, but ultimately they're going to have to walk out their own path too. Oh, and it breaks my heart. It just, because you want to save them from hurt and heartache. And my parents tried to do it with me. You know, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't get married so young. You shouldn't, do this. And they were right about every single thing they warned me about. But I had to walk it out on my own. It's the only way we can learn.
Okay, I'm going to wrap up. This has been so fun. I want to ask you about one last little section about your love life and your marriage. You've been married to Alicia for how long?
We've been married for 12, going almost 13 years. It'll be 13 years this October. And we've been together for 18 years. Oh my gosh. I know.
What's the secret to it? And I don't know if this is
I don't know.
I don't know if you talk about this, but you guys are child free. Was that a choice that you always knew you wanted to make, or was it how life dealt you the cards? Because everyone has a different journey with that, and I respect it all.
Alicia has a son from his previous marriage, who's my stepson.
Amazing.
And I've kind of been his mom since he was
so you had
4.
A
I've been a second mom. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I've raised a lot of kids in my life, because it takes a village.
It absolutely takes
When
a
my
village.
brother started having kids, he was just getting started in his dental practice. And I was very present in my nephew and my niece's life, helping raise them early on. So I've done a lot of child rearing. I just didn't give birth, but that doesn't matter.
No,
we're still passing on what we know and our love to these human beings and watching them grow up. My nephew's now going off to college. I cannot believe it. Because I can just see him now, just a little baby looking like Charlie Brown.
Unbelievable.
And
I know. It's unbelievable.
And it flies so fast. But no, I never really saw motherhood as part of my journey. Even when I was a young girl, it was never something that I said, oh, I can't wait to be a mom.
Yeah. I never did either, honestly.
It just wasn't.
Until one of my 30s, it hit me hard one time. And then Sonny's here. And I struggle with fertility issues like crazy.
Yeah.
But I never was like that either.
Yeah.
And I never love a baby. I'm not the person that's like, oh, give me your baby.
Yeah.
I don't know if you are. But
I used to be. Sometimes I think about it now and did I make the right choice? Because we always kind of second guess ourselves sometimes, but I think I've done really good with my life, and I'm happy where I'm at right now. And like I said, I really wouldn't change anything. I'd love to have my daddy back, but other than that, I wouldn't change anything because I feel like who I am right now, I like myself.
I mean, is that not the goal?
Yeah.
To be able to look in the mirror every day and be happy with who you are?
Yeah. And it took a long time for me to get here. There have been so many years of self-loathing and just, body image stuff.
What a waste
and
of time, right?
Such a waste of time.
I look back on
those pictures and I'm like, I would love to look like that now.
Oh
and
God.
I thought, I was fat or ugly and I'm just like, you know what?
All the things I did to my body back then, I'm like, I'm so sorry, body. You've served me so well.
Yes. Thank you, body.
Thank you, body, for being
that
healthy.
I can see and that I can walk and not too much hurts.
Yeah.
Some stuff hurts, but not too much.
I know.
And
I know.
I think we need to be better to ourselves, more loving to ourselves. But I'm getting there. I'm starting to get there. So I'm happy about that.
What a journey, Rebecca Lynn Howard. What a beautiful journey. What is success to you? I have I'll wrap up with this question and then I always end with leave your light. But what is success to you?
Success to me is just being happy, finding joy in whatever circumstance. Because, real happiness isn't circumstantial. It comes from the inside. And so if I can try to find that joy and that happiness and that ray of light and still in the darkness, then to me that's success, because that's what will carry you through life. You can be like, I've learned this the past couple years, money does not buy you happiness.
Absolutely.
I would give everything I have to be 100%, in my body the way I was before I got sick. So obviously money's not going to help me there. So, but we can find joy and we can find happiness within ourselves. Then we can get through anything. And that's what real success is.
Amen. I always wrap up with leave your light. What do you want people to know? Just drop some inspo. Not that wasn't it.
I want people to know that you are loved, You're not alone. And there's always hope. Don't ever lose hope. And keep your faith. Keep your faith strong, because that'll get you through everything.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. I'm Not Who You Think I Am is out right now. Rebecca Lynn Howard. Will you stick around for a few questions? I do a little bonus episode.
will.
Okay. It's called Tell Me More. So this will air on Thursday. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank
this
you,
was
love.
such a treasure and a treat to get to talk to you.
You too.
Okay. Rebecca Lynn Howard, where can everyone find you?
I'm on Instagram. I'm on the TikTok.
Are you on the TikTok?
I'm on the TikTok.
You're ticking,
I did it. And
Do
Facebook.
you like dance and make videos? I don't even go on TikTok. I know I need to.
I'm not much of a dancer, but I do some of the trends every now and again.
Okay.
I try to be,
Okay.
fun.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's on the TikTok. She's on Instagram.
Facebook.
Rebecca Lynn Howard.
RebeccaLynnHowardOfficial.com.
Amazing.
Yep.
Okay, check her out. Check
Oh.
you out.
Oh, here
Y'all
it
go
comes.
Get this album. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye, Rebecca.
Bye, love.
Love you.
Love you too, honey.